Hello, Smiley here. How you doing? Happy Friday. It's Friday. It's just gone 20 past 12 and I'm just jumping online to chat to you, just to have a catch up about my week, because some really interesting stuff's come up and I thought I would share it with you because it's always helpful to share this stuff because it might be relevant to you. I always find that, don't you? Like when you talk to people, you hear the right thing at the right time and then everything kind of falls into place. So I want you to think about, when it comes to Smiley coaching, what do you think I do for a job, first of all? Because recently I did the parents training. Yeah, I did the parents training, didn't I? And I did the 90 minutes of free training and the follow-up. I had 85 mums in the group. It was amazing. And off the back of that, I had quite a lot of emails from parents. And each email started in the same way. Can you tell me how? Can you tell me what? Can you tell me why? So if you find yourself asking, how can I get my child to do this? Or if only my child would stop doing that? Or why is what's going on here? And my response to that is a really big question and it's complex. There isn't just a quick fix. There isn't a magic bullet. I can't just write an email. I used to, but my boundaries have got better, if I'm honest. So I used to spend like half an hour signposting to blogs, making suggestions. But actually, that's what I do for a living. So now I say to people, I would love to help you with that. That sounds like something you need to explore more. So why don't you book an appointment and we can talk it through? And actually, the value of booking that appointment to you, because you feel your way to changing things. It starts off with awareness and then it drops down in here and you feel your way to changing things. So me sending you an email and just going bam, 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 bam is not going to help you. In fact, it's going to keep you stuck actually, because I'm doing the work for you and you need to do the work and you need to be in it and feel it to be able to make it right in a way that's right for you. And I don't know what's right for you. I don't know. I couldn't possibly know what's right for you. And I certainly can't know what's right for your child. So when I get these emails, they're about this long and people say, this has happened and this has happened and this has happened and this has happened. Can you tell me what that is and how I can make it right? No, I can't. And I wish, well, I can. That's not true. I can. But it involves you doing the work and it involves you unpacking that and seeing what's going on. There's not a quick answer. Now I know I say this over and over again, but I've been in therapy for a long time, like over 10 years. I've read hundreds of books, I've done my training, and even I am searching for answers to things, but there's not a quick fix. So I wanted to share that with you first of all, because I kind of was getting the impression that people thought that you could just email, like it's like ask Smiley. You can ask me and I can help you because I probably do know how to set you off on a path that's going to take you to where you want to get to, but it's not going to be done over email like that, and it's not going to be just presented on a plate in front of you like that, because I'm not doing a good job if I do that for you, because you've got to do the work. Now, isn't that a lovely way to start off our chat on a Friday? But it's true. And actually, that brings me on to talking about being internally motivated to change, right? So think about schools. Schools externally motivate kids to change. Yeah? They get children to change through fear-based techniques. So obviously there are rules in schools, but there are consequences and punishments and detentions and things that can shame children or can scare them into doing what the school needs them to do, all of which has the complete opposite effect, because a child who's scared and who is in an environment like that is not going to flourish. especially an anxious child. Certain temperaments of child are not going to flourish in that environment. So it's using a carrot and stick, isn't it? It's using an external thing to motivate, but it's motivating through fear. We want our children to grow up to be internally motivated, to do things because from inside of them, they can feel their way to it and they know it's the right thing. And this is why reward charts don't work. So think about, do you use reward charts or external treats to get your children, to coerce your children into doing things that you want them to do? And think about how you motivate yourself. Are you internally motivated, or do you need someone, like, do you need a personal trainer or a coach, or can you sit down and, because you want to feel good on the inside, get it done yourself? So lots of us, you know, I was externally motivated by fear predominantly, and punishment and isolation, also with sweets and treats. But I don't have any internal boundaries because I've never felt like I'm doing that because it's coming from a place of doing the right thing for myself and having the choices. Does that make sense? So at school, it's a very controlling environment, and actually the point that the school are missing, and this is your magic bullet, is the trusted rapport with the students. Because through having that trusted rapport, which we call connection, which is what I bang on about all the time, children naturally want to please you. So when they trust you and they feel safe with you, they're not full of fear because they think they're going to get told off, they're pretty compliant, most of them, most of the time, unless they've got other stuff going on. I don't know about you, if you've got a really controlling boss who criticises you all the time and publicly shames you at meetings in front of all your peers, no trusted connection there, completely lost your engagement, probably not going to be motivated to do a very good job for him, are you? No. So it's the same thing with your kids, right? It's the same thing. So in schools, I think the focus needs to be on building that connection with the children. I see it in coaching all the time. And that's why coaching can't be rushed. You know, like I like clients to do at least 3 months with me to build up that rapport, because once we've got that trust and that connection going on, and we've lost the resistance and we've lost the fear, and they're totally engaged in the process, anything is possible. And actually that child will just rise up and sort of reach the place that they need to get to in order to feel better. So it's external motivation versus internal. So if you're using reward charts, punishment, threats, isolation, disappointment and guilt tactics with your kids to manipulate them into doing stuff, that is a form of control, and that breaks trust and connection. Imagine if your husband was doing that to you. You'd bin him off, wouldn't you? You'd get a divorce. Because control, you know, lots of us don't respond well. We don't want to be controlled. We want to be our own person. And actually, when we're controlled by something outside of us, we're very obedient and compliant, but we can't go in here and say, what choices do I want to make? What feels right for me? How do I feel? So the magic bullet that we're all looking for is connection, isn't it? So when your children feel connected to you, when you feel connected to me as your coach, when you feel connected to your sister, your husband, your boss, when you have that trusted, mutually respectful connection, everything goes well. There's lots of things that break that connection. We'll save that topic for another day. But when you don't have that connection, so mums are saying you're overwhelmed, and over on the blog this week I've actually written a blog post with 2 techniques of how to reprioritise your to-do list in terms of what matters to you, not what I think you should do, what you think is important. So hop on over to the blog, smileyforlife.com/priorities, and it will teach you a new way to prioritise. But for me, I'd be prioritising connection if I was a mum, because when your kids are connected to you, and you don't need to be with them all the time, it's an invisible string from your heart to theirs. So my ebook, which is over in the online learning den, and I'll put the link in below, is a mini 30-day training. It's £20 and it comes with 2 60-minute videos, which will help you to find those tools in your toolkit that work with your personality and your child's personality to hone that connection. Rules without relationship lead to rebellion. Too right, Janine, they do. It's so right. So instead of controlling, what you need is healthy boundaries. So it's different, isn't it? When you've got healthy boundaries, you don't need to control things outside of you, which actually, that's an illusion. You're not in control. You're only in control of yourself. And actually, I talk about this all the time, children who don't have healthy boundaries, you get two extremes. You get the angry child that shows up in coaching that's got really rigid control, not boundaries, rigid control, which makes them, that's the rebellion, that makes them push back, and they're fuming because no one wants to be controlled. We want to be loved and accepted for who we are. I'm not saying be a permissive parent. It's different. Listen to what I'm saying. It's not control, it's boundaries. But then you get children who have no boundaries and permissive parents, and they're really anxious because they don't feel safe. They're just floating around in Earth, in the planet, with not plugged into anyone. And I see those two extremes. I see the rigid, helicoptering, controlling parents who, can I say, that's not with judgment, those parents feel unsafe because they didn't have boundaries growing up. So what they're doing is they're projecting their fears onto their child. Then the ones down this end may have had the too controlling a parent, so they've swung too far the other way and let their children, give their children too much power, which is actually frightening for children. So I don't know if I'm making any sense there. Let me know that I'm making sense. But we are motivated when it comes from internal motivation inside of us, when we feel we have choices and we have freedom to be ourselves, and also when we feel like we're supported by a community or someone that sees us and loves us who we are. Thank you. So I think if you're going down that road of how can I get my child to do this, or can you just tell me what this is, Smiley, can you just fix this and just sort this out? There is no magic bullet, but if you're looking for a quick fix, work on your connection. Because once you have that secure attachment, that loving, respectful connection with your child, you just watch how their behaviour changes. All behaviour is driven by the way they feel. So if they feel overly controlled up this end, or they feel anxious and unsafe floating around up this end, they're not connected to you. That end's too controlling. That end's, they've got too much power. So there's quite a lot of blog posts over on the blog about how you can create that connection. You can actually manufacture it, and it's not difficult. And my ebook is a deep dive into that. So for parents who are overwhelmed, it gives you one small thing to do each day, and you get a little smiley-ometer, so you can check in with yourself and say, well, I tried that today and actually that didn't work, but my child really liked that and I found that was easy. And then by the end of the 30 days, you should have a ready-made plan just for you, so that you know how to tap into that connection and be with your child. Yeah. My children are a little older now, but I think I'm seeing many parents finding it tough to have any authority and give them boundaries. Yeah, I am too, Janine. I am too, because we've gone from, a lot of us had authoritarian parents which were really controlling. So the controlled children who are now having parents are swinging back down this way. But neither of those are healthy, because what you need is healthy boundaries. And I have actually got a course called No More Power Struggles, Take Back Your Power as a Parent, because power's not the same as control, is it? Which tells parents how to, first of all, look at their own boundaries, because it's likely they don't have any. So there's a basics on how to look at your own boundaries. And then the second part of the course is a deep dive into setting boundaries with empathy. And empathy is the key to that loving connection. Empathy is the key. I will, Louise, but actually I've just been writing a newsletter for Valentine's Day, so I don't know if you're on my list for the newsletter, but I've actually, in the newsletter, I'm writing 5 must-read blogs about how to make sure your children feel loved. So if you get the newsletter, they're all in there. And to get onto the newsletter list, if you go to smileyforlife.com/love, you get a little ebook from me which talks about connection. So it's the basics, it's the introduction to connection parenting. But as an overwhelmed parent in this crazy busy world that we live in, if you're going to focus on something, if you're looking for a magic bullet and you're saying to me, how do I stop my child from doing this? How do I stop? connection and boundaries are your ultimate things that will keep you sane and make sure that your children grow up feeling safe, secure, loved, and they can also respect other people's boundaries. And also, if children don't have boundaries, they're very that leaves them open to bullying and sexual abuse and predatory people. And think about when they go into relationships, girls meeting men, I'm thinking, if you haven't got healthy boundaries, you are going to attract controlling or predatory, or you're at risk of not being able to keep yourself safe. I'm not saying this to scare people. I feel like I need to show up and be honest about it, because as Janine's saying, we're leaving our children, we're putting them in this crazy soup of a world that we live in, and we're not giving them the tools that they need to survive in it. And this is not with judgment, it's because people don't know about it. If you weren't given it as a child, you can't, what you don't have inside of you, you can't give away. So if you weren't given these things as a child, and lots of us weren't, and I know that's really sad, it is really sad that we didn't get our needs met growing up. But the best thing we can do for ourselves and for our kids is to make sure that we understand what we do need and what's going on for us. It's the best thing we can do. And also your connection with your child is dependent on your ability to connect, your capacity to love them is actually directly related to how much you love yourself and how connected you are to yourself, which is why, mummies, I'm always talking about self-care. So how is your self-care? Are you racked with mummy guilt? Do you find it hard to make time for yourself and finish your cup of tea? I've got a love heart on my cup of tea today, look. I did this free training recently that I was talking about at the beginning, and it was 90 minutes, and at the end of it, parents got like what I called a ninja parenting kit, and it talked about what I'm talking about now, and it got them to grade where they were in terms of each element, and then it gave them 2 pages of resources that they could tap into so they could up their scores for each part of the toolkit, if that makes sense. And you can get that training. That training is in my online learning den. So that's a kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys today. And if you're interested in improving the connection with your child or learning about emotional intelligence, and you don't want to go over to the online learning den and you don't want to do the DIY packages, which you can do at home, why don't you come to the Energy Pod? The Energy Pod is a weekly workout for your emotional intelligence. It's £10 per family, and it's on Mondays at 5 o'clock. The first class was this Monday, and I want to share with you a bit about what happened, because someone's just tried to ring me. Sorry, rewind. Someone just tried to ring me. It was really powerful. We had 4 children that came along to the live class, and then we had other people that signed up and got the replay afterwards because they couldn't make the 5 o'clock class. It's a one-way broadcast like this. So I come into your home and hang out with you and your kids. You're all there doing it together. It was lovely. We had Blanky. We did the energy of disappointment. So we talked about how disappointing it is when your friend doesn't want to play with you, or your mum and dad say no. So about hearing boundaries. And we talked about how disappointing it is when you lose, because lots of boys who are highly competitive get really angry when they lose. But actually that anger is just a mask for disappointment. They're sad because they play to win. And they have that sort of natural instinct inside of them. They want to win. And that's a drive that you don't want to knock out of them, because what if they go on to be the next Richard Branson? Or what if they go on to be the next great leader? They need that determination. Yeah, I get it. It's not easy to parent, but it's part of who they are. So the Energy Pod on a Monday is it's done online, and we talked about disappointment. We went to the disappointment pool in our minds, and we washed all the disappointment away, and we drew it, and we discussed it, and families got engaged in that, and it was really interesting. And at the end, we made a wish about what we would like to happen, and we blew out a candle. So it's kind of like we let go of everything. And the results were phenomenal. I had 2 mums who got surprising results that they were thinking, I wasn't expecting that. So one mum said, it brought up all my disappointment that I've been carrying around something for quite some time that I hadn't acknowledged. And I found myself coming off the call and being quite teary. I spoke to my husband about it in the evening, and that enabled me to move forward. So often we carry feelings, and because we're so busy getting involved in everyday life, we don't know that they're there. I've just had a session with my therapist this morning and sat in her office, which is probably why I look a bit bleary-eyed, and cried my eyes out. And I didn't even know that I felt the sadness that I was carrying. It was actually disappointment, funnily enough. So doing the energy pod had an effect on me as well. And then there was another little boy who resisted the class. And you get this a lot when children are scared to go and meet and be with those feelings. He resisted it. He got quite angsty afterwards. But then his mum kind of stayed with him through it. And, you know, you're not going to always... The energy pod isn't about being a happy clapper. It's about being able to let go of those feelings that weigh you down. And each person, each child, each parent will respond to it differently. But at the end of it, you will have a toolkit that will enable you to understand yourself more, have that self-awareness, be more connected to what's going on in your bodies, which in turn means you'll be more connected with each other as families. So this is big stuff that we're doing. It's deep work, but we're doing it in a really light-hearted way, through drawing, through play, through music, through meditation. I have ways of making you speak. That is what Smiley does. So you're really welcome to come along and join us. I would love it. And it's a lovely way for you to connect in with each other. And I think for parents watching how their children respond to me, you're going to get little nuggets of wisdom as well, because you're going to be thinking, oh, I never knew that. Oh, that makes sense now. Sounds really good. I wondered if it would be suitable for my kids as they're 5 and 6, but I think we should give it a try. Yeah, so my niece is 5. My niece is 5 years old, and she did the class with my sister. She's quite used to Smiley stuff. She's got Smiley thought cards, and obviously she's got a Smiley auntie. So, and she's being raised through connection parenting, which is wonderful. And she styles it out in her own way. So she gets involved in what I'm saying. She loves doing the drawing. She's really creative. She finds the guided visualization a little bit difficult. But, you know, if you've got little ones, you can pull them in close to you and say, let's get under the blankie and all snuggle together and listen to Smiley. Their kids are not going to turn down the opportunity to do that with you, are they? To have some really close mummy time. And just to sort of marinate like a good steak in that energy for 45 minutes. I think parents worry that, what if my child doesn't listen? What if what if I can't get my child to come? I will say that children do tend to follow your lead, in my experience. So if you are committed to doing it, and if they start messing about, it's because they want your attention. So just bring them closer and say, come and sit on my lap while I listen to this, or draw me a picture, or, you know, you just kind of be with them in the moment. Don't try and control what they're doing. Again, that's back to the control. Have boundaries around it, or just role model the behaviour you want to see. And hopefully in time, over time, if you keep coming to class, they'll copy you or they'll follow you. But the more we work on this stuff, the more we internalise all those positive messages. So we do a few Smiley thought cards, and I don't know if I've got the sheet with me. Hang on, where is it? I've got so many blooming sheets of paper on this table. Bear with me, caller. I'm just going to see if I can grab the sheet. Hold the line. Oh, no. What have I done with that? Oh, here it is. We do this. Can you see that sheet? So we do a weekly check-in. So we're practicing gratitude. We're saying how much water and fresh air we've had. Have we used our imaginations today? How much sleep did we get? How did we spread happiness today? What are we letting go of today? And whatever energy we're addressing in the class is what we'll be letting go of. So next Monday, Monday coming up for half term, we're letting go of excitement, because obviously the energy's manic coming up towards half term. So I'm going to talk to the children about that and how they can ground their energy when they get too excited, like Christmas Day excitement, because I know some of them ramp up like that at bedtime. So it's excitement this week. So I think that'll be quite helpful. And then we do a little feelings score in the bubble at the bottom, out of 10. So 10 is I feel amazing, 1 is I feel like poo. And we always say that because that's hilarious to talk about poo when you're 44 next Wednesday. So yes, it's really simple format. It's simple, it's fun. I can hold the space for you and keep you all safe. And what will happen is I put you into a Facebook group and we have the video, and then we'll talk around it, but then I'll pull the video out, because obviously the people that are coming the next Monday, if they haven't paid for it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the videos, I'm going to batch them all up and put them in the online learning den. You can, if you don't come to class and you want to buy them afterwards, they'll be like the Energy Pod volumes 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, depending on which emotions you'd like to deal with. Can't do it live. But you can do, yeah, so why don't you, if you can't do it live on a week thing, what I'm hoping, Louise, is that there's going to be quite a lot of families coming, and I'm going to offer it out to my one-to-one clients in a package as a supplement to what they get from me as one-to-one clients, because I think it's all very well talking about this stuff and doing it and clearing it in my room, but you need a weekly, it's like going to the gym or having a personal trainer. You need someone there holding your hand till you get in the zone, don't you? So yeah, trying it out in half term when you're not at school would be great. But a few people did watch the replay, and I've actually got it on my list to email them this weekend and say, did you find the replay useful? But you can always come back into the group after you've watched the replay and ask me a question, because the discussions, because the effects of the energy, if you think about feelings as energy, go on after the class, the discussions continue on afterwards. And then the sharing, that's where the value is, the sharing that comes out of those discussions and how everyone's finding it, and people saying what it was like for them, and we'll all have a different experience, is where the good stuff is. Because, you know, it's the same as when you did the mums training, hearing that other people are going through what you're going through is super helpful, isn't it? Has anyone got any questions they want to ask me about the Energy Pod? I'm going to put the link in for the Energy Pod, for the ebook, if you want to work on your connection with your child, because I really think that's a good place to start. And make sure you're on my newsletter list if you want to find out what the top 5 blog posts are for connecting with love. And if you want to reprioritise in terms of what matters to you because you're feeling overwhelmed, smileyforlife.com/priorities is a new blog that's up that's got 2 suggestions on how you might like to prioritise. Always got lots to tell you. Thing is, I do all this stuff, and I'll show you my to-do list. This will make you laugh. This is my to-do list for the week. That's what I've done this week. Because as I learn, or as I find out stuff with my clients, I'm constantly... I'll write a book one day, because I've got client books with notes in that look like this. Hold on. This is all client notes. I've got a cupboard full of those. So think about all the families that I've seen. I see patterns and I see things, and then that helps me make sense of stuff. And I think, oh, that's what they need. Oh, that's what they need. And then I create a course, and then I put it in the online learning den. Got a busy brain. Got to keep it busy. Does anyone else? You can ask me about other things if you want to. I don't know if any of you were on the training, if you watched the training and you enjoyed it, or you've had any aha moments since then. Have you got nice half terms planned? What else did I want to tell you? I'll look at my list while you think if there's any questions. Oh yeah, so going back to the school thing, the point I was making about schools not having that trusted engagement with their pupils, they're coming from a place of do as I say, not as I do. That's not boundaried. I mean, the rules are boundaries, but punishment and detentions definitely break connection, So that's your magic bullet from me. You've got to do some work, people. We've got to do the work. Life is just a learning experience, isn't it? We're all lifelong learners. So I missed the schools bit. Well, you can watch it back on the replay, Louise. Facebook records this for us, then it goes up to the top of my page. But I was just talking about how the environment of school is not really helping children to have that connection that they need in order to learn. And that's why I talked about how reward charts don't work, and I talked about the difference between being externally motivated and being motivated internally. like doing it because it makes you feel good, not because you're going to get a bollocking, sorry, excuse my French, or because you're going to get a pack of sweets. Because then you don't learn how to motivate yourself internally, which is why people struggle. You know, people who go on diets, they sabotage and they struggle with that because they're externally motivated. It doesn't come from in here. Any questions? Any questions? Should we do a little angel card while I'm online? I've just got my angel cards here. Let's do a little card for you all while I'm online, and then I shall bugger off and leave you to get on with your weekends. It's half term. Half term. So what do these mummies need to hear today, angels? What will help them on their journey? Ooh, haha, this is a big one. Look at this one, it's beautiful. Time to move on. What do you need to let go of? What are you holding on to? What are you holding on to, and how could you make it easier for yourself? By letting go of stuff that you don't need anymore. So it says, it's time to let go of the old and worn out so the new can come in. So I think you should all come to the energy pod on Monday, obviously, because that would be a good way to let go of stuff. But you know, we hold on to stuff because it feels comfortable and familiar to us, but it doesn't mean it's good for us. It doesn't mean it's good for us. And sometimes, you know, I sort of see myself, it's like I'm hanging on the edge of a cliff face and literally my nails are like, I've been hanging there for about 10 years. I'm really tired. My arms ache. I'm crying. And there's someone below me or a mattress below me and someone's saying, come on, I'll catch you. This is what the energy pod is. I'm saying, come on, I'll catch you. I'll help you sort it out. And you're going, I'm too busy. I'd rather stay up here hanging on my cliff. No, let go. And I'll catch you. The energy pod on Monday is about the energy of excitement, Emma. So we're looking at the fact that because we're going into half term, normally when we come to an end of a school term, children's energy vibration is wired. And obviously they've got full emotional backpacks. You've probably taken a lot on board and they're ready for a break. So I'm going to be teaching the children about how to ground their energy and how to notice when they're getting like that and what they can do on a daily basis to stop it from getting full up. But other feelings that I've got obviously on my down for the energy pod are the energy of missing someone. So that's the separation anxiety, isn't it? Or when somebody dies or when a pet goes. We're going to do the energy of sadness, obviously. We're going to do the energy of anger, energy of frustration. We're also going to talk about the energy of shame, feeling like we've got it wrong, and guilt. And maybe if you tell me what energies you'd like me to work with, then if you tell me what you need, then we can make it happen. You can make it happen. It is great, honestly. And people think because it's online, it's not powerful. But you see, I've got this, because I'm a bit woo-woo, I know that energetically, when you link up with people, you are energetically linked. So if I'm holding a space for you and I'm putting you all in it and bringing you together, I know that you're still going to feel the effects of that. And I know that's really hard to wrap your head around, but we are all energy and we are all connected. And peace out. We are. And so that's how it works. I'm in an online mastermind group with 3,000 women. And we all do tapping together. When we all get together and tap, you can feel the energy. I sit in my bed and do it and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It's really cool. Yeah, the energy of anxiety would be a good one, or the energy of worry, the energy of fear, of being afraid, because we're all afraid of something, and normalizing that for the children and letting them know, and then hearing what everyone else is afraid of. And there'll be so many different things that all the children say, won't there? And then that will make them feel accepted and okay with their fear. I'm scared of the dark. Anyone else scared of the dark? So yeah, anxiety will be a good one. I should start making a little list, add that to my to-do list. And but if you think of anything, yeah, if you come along, we'll talk about what do you want to do next week. I'd like to talk about the energy of change, actually, of making transitions. We make lots of little transitions every day, from like place to place, from job to job, from school to home. But also families go through big changes, and actually sitting in the energy of change can be frightening. It can be scary because it's unknown. Wouldn't it, Louise? It would be such a powerful one, really powerful. So I think using that really simple premise of energy and thinking about what energy we sit in every day and what energy we bring to our children, what energy they are giving to the world, and just being really mindful of that. Once we're aware of that, then that's when really amazing things start to happen. All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and a magnificent half term. I've got loads of fun things planned for next week because it's my birthday on Wednesday. So I'm having like a treat day with my niece and a spa day with my friend. I'm also running a creative workshop for families who've got adopted children. It's the first time I've done that, so I'm so excited. It's been a really fun week. I've also been to see Cleve's school this week to talk about taking the energy pod to their school because they've got this new nurturing room. Nurturing room, how gorgeous is that? So it's all going on. The energy is big and happy over here. So take care, everybody, and I shall put the links in when I come offline, and you're all very welcome to come and join us. Very, very welcome. Okay? Take care.